Hi guys, in this video I explain linear search. Let's start out by creating a prototype named linear search. This expects an array of integers followed by the size of the array and finally a target value that we search for in the array. If the target value is found in the array, this function returns the index in the array where the target value was found. If it was not found, it simply returns -1. So let's go ahead and implement this. Linear search steps through the array one value at a time. So the first thing I need here is a for loop starting at index I and I less than the size, I plus ones. So it steps through the array one index at a time. In each iteration, I want to check the array at index I and compare that element to the target value. If there is a match, I return index I. Now, if I step through the entire array here and compare each element to the target, and none of the elements match the target, this never became true. I never entered the then block and never returned. So if I end the for loop, didn't find anything, I return -1. Now let me go to the main, and in the main I create an array of 10 integers. Oops. So I have 10 integers here. I also specify the index. Last element at 9. Now I create a integer variable target. I prompt for the input and I read the input into the target value. Then I call my linear search function. I pass in the array, pass in the size, and pass in the target. Now I output if the index is not -1, so if I found a value, I output found at index and I output the index. Oops. And if the index is -1, I output not found. Oops. There we go. So let me run this program. And once it prompts me here, I can enter a value. So let's enter 81 and it's found at index 2. So what happened here in the loop? It started at index I, accessed the array, index I is initialized to 0, so it accessed the array at index 0, which is 12, compared 12 to my target value 81. This was not a match. It incremented I by 1, checks that we are still in the range, in the range of the array. So I is now 1, it accessed 40, compares 40 to 81, this is false, incremented I by 1, I is now 2, accessed the array at 81, 81 matches the target value 81, so it enters the block and returns 2. And then here I have the index and I outputted the index. Now let's run this again and try another value. Let's say I enter 68. So 68 is found at index 8. So all that linear search does is basically sequentially stepping through the array, 12, 40, 81, 23, until the value that we're looking for is found, in this case 68. Now if it is not found, let's say enter 31, it will output not found because it stepped through the entire array comparing each value in the array. If I reach the end, so I'm at the end of my loop, I return -1 and it is not found. This is the most basic search. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.